What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and thanks for tuning in to see my beautiful face again. In all seriousness, we are going to be going over pricing and dynamic pricing tools. Specifically, we are now using Wheelhouse for our dynamic pricing. I want to go over those details with you guys because I was actually just about to onboard another property onto our dynamic pricing through Wheelhouse, but I wanted to take a second to actually show you guys real life what it looks like, how quick it is to do, and just if I can help one person overcome the mental hurdle of getting started with dynamic pricing, I think this video will be worth it. Because for me, I thought I had a certain level of mastery when it came to pricing and revenue management for our short-term rental business. We actually have been averaging about $80,000 to $105,000 a month with our short-term rental business this year. So I felt like we really had it all together, that there wasn't a whole lot that we could add as far as revenue. But when I went on to Wheelhouse and I saw they have this, I'll show you kind of some of the details, but they have this RevPAR score. And I thought I was in the top 10% for everything. Well, it turns out some of my listings were like, top 60%. Now there's a lot of details with these that maybe some of the comparisons weren't 100% accurate for comparing like for like properties, but whenever I filtered it down, I did have some room that I could still go up. So the beauty of dynamic pricing, well, I guess first we'll talk about what is dynamic pricing. So dynamic pricing actually takes into consideration the availability in your market for homes of your similar size and amenities. It also takes into consideration seasonality, events, supply and demand. Well, I guess it's the same as availability, but it's midnight and I'm trying to make this stinking video. So, and then it also takes into consideration your track record for your property. So the cool thing about Wheelhouse is if you have had your property for a couple of years and you have booking history, it actually brings in all that information and it uses it to compile a good base price for you, and it further enhances the model or the tool. So I want to kind of take you guys through how to set that up, and I want someone to, if they're in the same thought process as I was, that they just need that one thing to click and just realize that it's not that big of a deal to sign up for dynamic pricing. Wheelhouse was like $20 a month. And then at the beginning, it's like you get a promo for like $10 a month. So it's definitely worth a try. Within the first couple hours of us first signing up for dynamic pricing, we had some bookings that already were getting us about 10 to 15% more than what I had the prices set at. So I think there's a lot of value in this tool. You also don't have to worry about, going in every single morning, because I would spend, an hour and a half every single morning adjusting my prices. And honestly, I could spend that hour and a half looking for another property. So the $20 a month is just an incredible value. There's other pricing tools like Price Labs. I think that one was like $8 a month or $6 a month, something like that. I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was something like less than $10. And then beyond pricing, I felt like was just outrageous because I think it was 1% or 2% of your bookings. And if you have a property that's doing $10,000 a month, I mean, that's some serious money that you're paying out. And if your overall revenue is $100,000 a month and you're paying $1,000 just for a pricing tool when there's other ones that are just as good, if not better, I just don't think it's worth it. So I'm going to show you, kind of how to get onboarded with Wheelhouse, real life demonstration for you guys. If y'all have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm happy to do follow-up videos, but I just wanted to show you guys how quick and easy it is to actually get Wheelhouse going. All right, everybody. So this is Wheelhouse right here. And the cool thing about Wheelhouse is that they have this rev score. So, you can see kind of how you rank against other properties of similar size and all that good stuff. I have no idea why this one says 25 because we actually do pretty well on that property. But Maybe because it's a much smaller sub market and a new listing for us. But I'm going to onboard one of these properties. The only thing I don't like about Wheelhouse is whenever you have more than 10 listings, you have to like go to page 2. It's just a lot easier if you can look at them all on one page. I know that's kind of a silly gripe, but I'm actually gonna get, where is it? This one right here set up. So whenever you're first setting it up, you can actually see where your prices are and what Wheelhouse is recommending. So already they're offering a couple of nights lower, the ones that are coming up, and then other ones are going to be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, and it all depends. And you can actually set how aggressive you want to be. So if you want to be conservative, if you want to be, middle of the road, also more aggressive, or you can set your own and kind of customize what you want. In this case, all these look like the majority of these nights are as good, if not a little bit better, going into busier season. So I am going to change this over. In these little blocks, you can see the one just means like it's a 1 night minimum stay by default. If you haven't set up anything yet, like I literally haven't touched this listing on Wheelhouse yet. So that's why some of these settings are just, and why everything is at the default. So it just defaults to 1 night, and I'll show you how we customize all this stuff. It takes like 5 minutes. So I'm going to set it to the more aggressive right now. I'm actually just going to fine tune it along the way, but I'll show you guys how we're doing this. So you just click continue with base price, go to your strategy. So we're at more aggressive. Each day they actually show you how they come up with your base price. So you can see the exact breakdown, what the good parts about your listing are that increase the nightly rate, what the bad parts are that decrease the nightly rate. So you can, really kind of make a determination of, if I continue to add more amenities, can I get a higher nightly rate? And it'll start to factor that stuff in. You can also see past bookings, occupancy, all that good stuff. And then, so we're just going to stick just, for right now, the more aggressive. And then once I get it live, I'll go through and fine tune a little bit more. I'll compare it, with what I'm seeing on the calendar versus some other listings. So you have base price, and then here last minute. So for us, what we like to do last minute, typically we like to do a custom thing. So, okay. So in order to activate this feature, you gotta upgrade. So we're going to upgrade, gives you a prorated upgrade. So for the rest of the month, you'll be able to have this listing live on Wheelhouse. So I know it seems a little arduous, and I'm sorry for the video being a bit drawn out, but I just really want you guys to see real life how long this stuff takes. So we're going to click custom again. Within, let's say 21 days, drop it by, let's say 5%. Then I can add another discount. So that means if it's 21 days out, the price is going to drop 5%. If it's 14 days out, I'm going to move it to 10. And if it is 7, we will drop it to about 15. And I'll just continue to tinker with these. But a lot of this stuff you have in your head, so it's just kind of putting it on into the software so that you can see, what makes the most sense, and you can compare it, kind of take a look and analyze your portfolio on Airbnb or Vrbo. That's another thing. So to integrate with Vrbo for Wheelhouse, you do have to go through your property management software. So for us, we use Hostfully. So that would be how they could publish all your rates and handle your dynamic pricing. For Vrbo is if you go through your property management software, which for us, again, is Hostfully. So that's like Guesty, and there's a lot of other, ones, Hospitable. There's so many, but we just prefer Hostfully for a variety of different reasons, but that's a different video for a different day. So this one right here is the far future. So 120 days out, I'll increase it like 5%, and then I'll add another premium. And you just see how quick and like seamless this system is, we'll say about 200 days out, I'll go 15% increase. So that's saying off of your base price, if it's 4 months out, I'm increasing the prices 5%. I do this because if we're starting to get more rates, we're starting to get more demand or things, people like to try to get places booked far in advance in some markets. So this is a way to capture some good rates. So if the market has turned and is now getting better rates, then you wouldn't have missed out in that process because you accepted a booking like 6 months in advance. This is a day of the week feature. With dynamic pricing, it does factor in a lot of times that you're going to have a little bit higher of a rate on the weekend. Some of our listings, I set them to 5% higher on the weekends versus weekday. This particular listing, I'm not going to do that because I already saw that they are about 10 to 15% higher on the weekends baked into the system. So I'm going to leave it at that. Seasonality, you can see how the seasonality, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. So right now we're in May, and so you can see that busy season is coming up and then everything starts to go down. But you can actually take these, like for example, December. So you can click on it and, okay, that's probably a bad example because that little thing grays it out. All right, so November, so you can see it decreases it by 39%. You can actually click the plus so that then your price starts to go back up. So for me, I'll probably just increase December a little bit more because people definitely book for, because we're in a warm climate here in Daytona. We usually get a lot of bookings halfway through December all the way through January, and it really just starts to pick up for the rest of the first quarter. But let's see, minimum price. So we can throw in a minimum price. We'll say let's just go with $125. Day of the week minimum price. So you can customize that as well, or you can add a monthly rule, time-based rule, date-specific minimum prices. So what that means is, let's say, for example, like for us, we have Biketoberfest coming up in October. So I would say, I'll double check these a little bit later, but I would say that would probably be no less than $499 a night. And that's about the same date range it falls in for every year. So you just click yearly. And then if you want to add another one, let's say, for example, Christmas, I definitely don't go, I usually do that from like the 17th to the 3rd of January. I usually don't go below like $399 in this. So this is a 2-bedroom, 1.5 listing that I'm adjusting right now, also at the beach. So you can do that, and you can also add in other date specific rules for base minimum prices. For me, I really don't do much with the base minimum prices because it looks like the software has some pretty good rates and don't typically fall below what my minimum would be maximum price. So if you don't want to go above a certain maximum price, you can put that in here. I don't see why you ever would. Our global minimum stay. So we are typically like a 2-night on this one. We like to do 3 on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But the cool feature here is the gap nights. So meaning, let's say for example, you have somebody that books, they check out Monday they check out like, let's say Friday, and then the next person checks in on Monday. Well, now you have 2 nights open, but as you see, we have a 3-night minimum on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that would mean that your calendar would be blocked off. Well, the gap nights, it actually automatically opens it for you. And if there's a gap, you can actually have, it'll decrease the nightly minimum to 2 nights, unless you have a rule down here that's a date specific minimum stay, then it overrides it. But that's a pretty cool feature. We also have time-based minimum stays, so it's kind of like with the gap night. So if you wanted to reduce this, let's say 21 days out, any gaps that are in there, even if it's like a 4 or 5 day gap and you would typically have like a 3-night minimum, it will actually reduce it to a 2-night minimum automatically. And I do that pretty frequently. So if we have like a weekend that's open and it's typically a 3-night, I'll change it to a 2-night, and I'm like literally the same day almost always books. So change that to 2. And I can play around with some other settings, but on this particular one, we do a 12% discount and 38% monthly discount. I don't like to go above 12% weekly discounts anymore, because if you actually do the math on it, if you divide 100% by 7, I believe it's 12% equals 1 night. So you're basically giving 1 night for free at 12%. We used to do 20 and 25% years ago. And man, I was like, man, I'm like giving away the farm, especially if they aren't paying full price to begin with. But anyway, so you click save and sync up here. There's a lot of other different tools different levers that you can pull within here in your settings. But one really cool thing that I like is if you click portfolio, let's say if you have existing listings, actually, I'll show you that in a second. I can actually go live with another one pretty quickly and just show you the settings. Let's see, where was I at? I was here. Just want to turn it on really quick. So continue with the base price. I already went to the strategy, but I'm just going to click that anyway. So then I'll go back to my calendar. You can see the rates are a little bit different than when we started out. And like, so this is cool, 403 versus 219. And so you can see the comparisons, but then you turn on Wheelhouse pricing and then it automatically activates to your Airbnb account. They also can sync with your direct booking website right out the gate if you want them to do that. Now, one thing that you do after you get it live, so now we're live on Airbnb with these prices, click sync calendar one more time up in the top right corner, and then it'll send it to Airbnb like within literally seconds. I've been toying around with this, and for the past little while, and you can see real-time updates. So it's pretty cool. It's really fast. But that's it. I mean, that's how you can get started on Wheelhouse. You can also use all these other different tabs, but it's a very straightforward system. You can see how quick the interface was, how user-friendly it is. They also have features within the portfolio tab that I was going to show you guys, that it allows you to. We have a lot of listings of similar size that are within kind of the same neighborhood or within a couple streets of each other, because that's where the zoning is for short-term rentals here. And you can actually duplicate the exact settings. So if you have date-specific minimum night stays, if you have date-specific prices, things like that, and all these different settings that are within your listing, you can duplicate those and carry them over to the next listing. So it's really cool. It's like just a couple of clicks of a button. So here, I'll show you really quick. So now we're live with that other one. It already synced. But let's say this one, for example, we wanted to copy the settings. So you just click copy settings. You can see all this stuff. And then you copy it over to this one that we just created. And then you check what you want. So if you wanted like all these days, or you wanted the last minute discount, settings that we adjusted, click that and then click next. So whatever you want, all this group of stuff. Actually, I'm gonna carry this one over right now. That's the listing I just created. The other one is right next door to it. And so I am going to apply that one over because I didn't put all those dates in yet. So that was pretty handy. So that's literally done. So if you customize one and you have similar listings all around, you can actually go in there and get it done that way. So I hope that helps some of you guys. It's really easy to use, really customizable, and if you guys have any questions, just leave some questions in the comments and I'm happy to get back to you guys. If I can figure out how to do maybe like a promo link or something like that to give you guys a better discount, I will. But as always, happy hosting to you guys. Hopefully you got some value out of this. Let me know if you want me to dive even deeper into any other tools that we use as well.